Welcome to Rauta. This video is done in commercial collaboration with our sponsor, Steelfest. Welcome to Rauta's preview video of Inferno 2023. Inferno Festival is the most known metal festival in Norway, and the main focus is of course extreme metal, with even more focus on being what Norway or Norway's metal scene is known about, black metal. Now, Inferno has always been more or less about Norwegian bands, but it's way more international than just, showcasing all those 1990s bands for the youth out there. But it's also one of those events where so-called blackpackers, or as if other people would say it, not in so nicely hidden ways, black metal tourists go to see famous bands. Or famous or infamous, it depends how you want to perceive the whole stuff. But since we're living in world 2023, not in 1993 or anything like that, of course the lineup is way more modern, and there are lots of bands which are not suitable or not even willing to go to this kind of festival. After all, it's kind of a commercialized and all that stuff. And I mean the very word in a very, very neutral ways. The point here being, there are a lot of people who prefer smaller underground events, and then there are people who find those underground events way too underground and less known bands for their liking. Inferno, in my opinion, has found this nice balance of offering you proper bands with good setup, nice venue, and in the middle of city with a kind of feeling that I think a lot of people should really get to know. But like I said, I totally understand people who prefer smaller festivals, as well as those who just feel like even Inferno is way too small. The ones that who go for places like, I don't know, Wacken or Hellfest or whatever, outdoors. So Inferno is purely indoor festival, and once again it runs for 4 days. That's quite a lot of celebration if you really think about it. I mean, even if you don't drink, all that, staying up late, socializing, seeing a lot of bands, I mean, it can really take its toll. And as such, I guess number one thing is make sure that you have secured a proper accommodation. Doesn't matter if it's a bed or couch at your friend's house or a nice cozy hotel room. What matters is that get enough of rest. I can tell you, like, I'm no newbie, I'm no young guy anymore. Those festival trips can be super, super fun and enjoyable, especially if you like live music and socializing. Those two are my favorite pastimes on festivals. But it can really take its toll. So before you even book your flights, make sure that you have some kind of accommodation wherever you're going. And Inferno is no exception. This year I'm not making the same mistake as previous year when I was a little late to the hotel booking, and as such got to book my hotel some, I don't know, a little bit farther away, which meant that in effect where my hotel was here, the venue was right there, and the actual festival hotel was here. It was a lot of running around and wasting time, which isn't exactly something that you probably want to waste your time when going to places like Oslo. Not that the distances are that big, but still, you probably want to focus on resting when you're not partying, that is watching bands or sipping expensive beers with your friends in Oslo. And another thing is, of course, book your flights as early as possible because the flights are going up. Now, I booked my flight maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and they were already quite much more expensive than what they were like a month or even 2 weeks earlier. Since then, the flight prices have gone up and down as the dynamic pricing just happens to be. So might not be that much difference now or like a month ago, but as we are running out of time soon, yeah, the prices are likely to get higher and higher. And now this celebration or festival is only a month away. So while there are at the moment some tickets, mind you, I'm doing this video on the 3rd of March, so only one day before this actually gets out. That is roughly some 4 weeks and a few days before the actual festival. So in about a month's time, I am supposed to be in Oslo watching all these bands, hopefully doing some wonderful interviews, and of course meeting and greeting with some like-minded people, those who are watching actual channel. So I hope to see some of you right there, and maybe we're having beers and nice talks throughout the night and all that stuff. Yes, I'm a bit of a night owl myself and not going to wake up except for the breakfast until I really have to, meaning work time with interviews and all that stuff. But we're not so much talking about the interviews which I'm going to do because most of them are not actually set. I have only 2 confirmed interviews so far, waiting for the reply for the rest of them, and a few cancellations. I can name those cancellations because it seems like they're not happening, and those are Godless, Yuada, Djevel, and It Seems Unleashed. Some of these bands have solid excuse like, we're not doing video interviews at all, and some are just like conflicting schedules, so can't really do bitch about it. But I'm looking for alternatives, and I hope before the festival to actually let you know what's happening. And if things go as I'm planning to, I am trying to do some more timely fashion footage from the event. That is, nowadays these trending shorts videos are liked by many people, so if I can just find suitable footage and time and place and whatnot, I'll try to provide you some material on the spot and spam the whole channel full of smaller sets of stuff from the festival. But now to the actual beef and potato of the thing here, and taking a look which bands to watch. Now mind you, there is 5th day called Wednesday, Odin's Day, which is kind of a pre-festival event, but I am not able to make it, and there are only a few bands mentioned, so I'm not gonna be there on Wednesday. But Thursday, the first bands start actually quite early on, that is almost right after the noon, which means I am not gonna make these 2 bands. My flight is roughly arriving, I think, around 3 p.m. and the first bands on the Rockefeller Club are starting at 4:30. And Rockefeller event venue is actually very close to John D. Technically speaking, they're the same building. You can just go, stairs down from Rockefeller and you will arrive at John D. So even though they are listed here as separate entities, means this John D is as kind of a smaller club and sometimes too full for people. And this Rockefeller side is the 3-floor building, which is the main attraction. Now these other bands, other places mentioned here, sorry, are some kind of side clubs, side ventures for people who just can't get enough from Rockefeller and John D venues. And of course this runs from Thursday to Sunday, so that means 4 days of festival madness. And then there are other things like here is mentioned this conference. It's a metal conference which you can find information here. I still don't know why I haven't been invited to Inferno music conference, even though it's running music journalists and professionals and whatnot. Maybe someday I will, I don't know. I'm not really super serious about it, but if I would be invited, maybe I would definitely go and do a little bit of ranting and blathering and talking and sharing important information. Point here is, beyond these actual metal shows, you will have conferences and you will have art exhibition. However, this link actually is not working at the moment, so I couldn't check out what's inside. The point here is, besides the actual bands, you will have photo exhibition, you will have black metal exhibition at the National Library, National Bibliothèque, and there are tattoo exhibitions, and some of them are on the main venues, Rockefeller and whatnot. So you can actually see tattoos. Like last year there was actually Bilzer guy doing some of the tattoos rather spontaneously. You can get black metal art and beyond, and of course there's merchandise for shirts and whatnot. So there are plenty of things to do. Also some DJ things happening. It seems some kind of a metal hiking trips and all. You will find most of the information on site, and those you can't, well, you just have to Google a little bit harder. But if I would be focusing all the topics here, we would be talking like 2 hours and nobody would watch it. So let's focus now on the actual lineups and my personal favorites. Like I said, this one actually starts quite early on in the afternoon on Thursday, but we're not gonna focus on those little bands unless there's something that I really need to say, but more about some of the bands I'm more interested. My personal first interest on Thursday would be see 1940 from Ukraine for the first time. Never seen them, and that would be something different, mainly because of Ukrainian conflict, but also because a lot of people say that it's pretty good of a live band. Something that I hopefully get to see, assuming my flight is not delayed and everything at the hotel goes nice. And then I guess my favorite attraction on the Rockefeller side would be Djevel, which unfortunately turned me down because they don't do video interviews, it seems. Some of the bigger bands are of course also on the Rockefeller side, like Dark Funeral, playing their fast, melodic, traditional black metal. Those I have interviewed previously, so not planning to do it this time, and same goes for Cannibal Corpse, which is always, in my opinion, a strong, solid death metal band. Seen them a few times over the years, and what can I say you? They are not going to let you down. I think they will take care of the brutality for the whole evening. And of course, for many people, one of the main attractions is Emperor, always playing especially the two first album material and going to do it. I hope to interview them, but no idea yet if that's going to happen, since my previous interview is from 2018. Or was it, yeah, 2018 or 2017, so years ago, needs to be updated. And I think Mork is playing a solid show on John D, traditional but new school of Norwegian black metal. And Nervosa, which probably worth seeing also. This is a lady-driven band, so definitely going to offer you something different than Norwegian black metal. For Friday, there's a little bit of chance for me to actually see some of these bands starting already in the afternoon, but most likely I will be doing interviews them, so can't really say if they are worth going, but in case you are out there, go ahead and see them. For my personal interest goes to Harakiri for the Sky. Those are some nice guys. I got to interview the other of the main guys in 2019 in Scotland, and seen them like twice live. They're good post-black metal band. Not for everybody, because post-black metal just puts off some people. But in my opinion, it's a good band, both on albums and live. And yeah, some good dudes in the band as well. Odium is definitely something that I want to keep my eyes peeled for, because I've known the band for a long time, never got to see them live, and this time it seems we're making an interview, which is something that I'm personally stoked about. Wolves in the Throne Room once again brings the American green metal, not really satanic black metal stuff, but kind of a nature-oriented band from United States, and it's something people want to probably see. I got to see them a few years ago when I interviewed the band in Helsinki, Finland, and while they're totally not my cup of tea, I still think they are a band worth taking a shot. Not the best A-class out there, but at least they are one of the leading bands in so-called Cascadian American black metal. So give it a go if you want something else than your typical Nordic setting. One of the interesting ones is definitely Godflesh, not exactly doing metal, but something different. I don't know yet whether or not that's gonna be worth my time or not, but at least it's something I haven't seen, and man, they have been in the scene for decades. And then of course the evening is closed with Amorphis from Finland. Now, no disrespect, but it's not my cup of tea, since, Tales from the Thousand Lakes and beyond, but at least they're big, they're very pro, and they're gonna offer you something different than, extreme metal. So Amorphis is definitely worth seeing, unless you're allergic to that kind of stuff. Those guys are pro. Then we move on to Saturday, which is also quite different in terms of bands playing there. Let's focus first on Rockefeller. It starts with Vemod, which is up and a promising new band, but we're gonna skip it for this talk. And that is followed by Sakistolis, which I guess a lot of people know from the Greek scene. But the main focus is, of course, the RT Blackened Project Arcturus, which I'm a little on the verge. Is it gonna annoy me or am I gonna like them? At least I hope to interview them because those guys have always done something different than your typical Norwegian bands. And back in the days, it was kind of a scene RT side project of things, but that's like a long time ago. Now it has been for a long time. It's a whole different entity and definitely something different than most of the Norwegian black metal entities right there. One of my highlights, however, is the American death metal band Nile, which is, in my opinion, one of the best death metal bands in the world. I mean, they never made a weak or mediocre album. Even at their weakest, they're strong and solid. And I hope to interview again because it was actually 2016 when I did interview them, and that was pre-Rauta season. So now it would be time to make those amends and make proper Nile interview on Rauta. Let's keep fingers crossed for that. And then the night is closed with Vatain, one of the biggest and most meaningful black metal bands in the world right now, and they have always played solid shows. I remember when Vatain was quite a small band, way smaller than nowadays anyway, around 2000, what the hell, 2005 already, I guess. They were playing in Finland. And they were already fierce back in the days. Now, of course, they have grown a lot since those days and they have made bigger shows. But trust me, when you see Vatain live, they are gonna give you some proper black metal setting. For example, I've seen them at Steelfest with big, flames and all, and they have the element of danger right there. I've seen also some footage which is like emphasizing the word danger here. So there's something important, in my opinion, to conquer the stage here. And I'm happy to announce that unless things get cancelled, Vatain interview is finally supposed to happen here on Rauta. So definitely looking forward to that conversation with Erik, the main man of the band. Now, some smaller bands from John D side, I think it's worth taking a look. This Dolt Vord Eine Non. In my opinion, it didn't really nail the music that well with their first EP release when it came like 3 years ago maybe. But the most important thing is this is made by Norwegian scene veterans. You will find people from like all over and beyond on that lineup. So it's probably something that you want to keep your eyes peeled for because it might actually be something big later on, even if now they are still, a little bit muddy. And one of the better ones in my opinion, and this totally divides people into different sections, is Gairia from Portugal. They played a fantastic show at Midgårdsblot last year. I made an interview which in my opinion was good, and in my opinion their music is good. It's kind of a contemporary modern black metal and not for everybody, and some people kind of dislike that a lot of people are going all about nature and whatnot. They go about urban things and they are very modern with their style, having masks and kind of a fierce thing. But some people say, yeah, they're way too safe-spaced black metal. I would say watch the interview and consider again. In my opinion, they're one of the best bands at the whole event, so definitely want to see them again. And then there are lots of these smaller bands which you might keep eyes peeled for before the actual main attractions. For example, Bloodhem did release some nice material previously, so definitely worth giving a shot. And then the last day, Sunday, which doesn't mean it's the worst or the best day, just one among the many. It starts at Rockefeller with one of my all-time Norwegian black metal bands, Ørgehall. They are often overlooked, but in my opinion, one of the definitely best Norwegian bands ever. Hands down. Just check out the discography and you know what I mean. I mean, you can probably go as close to old Dogthrone and Gorgoroth material rather than with Ørgehall. And by the way, they were already there in the beginning of 90s. It's not like a new band, but often overlooked because they didn't make the same kind of a success as the bigger ones. Fierce live band and also great on albums. Go see it. Crowbar, then again, is going to challenge a lot of extreme metal fans with their rather sludgy American-made metal. Not for my cup of tea mainly, but at least it's something different, so I'm going to give them a shot. Never seen them live. And same goes for Uada from United States, which is often slandered for various reasons. There are internet memes and all about Uada, but I'm interested to see them. Too bad they don't make video interviews, which I kind of understand, but at least I gave a shot. And one of my personal favorites on Sunday is A Bath, which is, well, as you know, the kind of a immortal spin-off. Well, now obviously standing on its own legs and not just another immortal spin-off thing, but we all know the history, right? I hope about this doing interviews, but all pointers seem like not likely to happen. Fingers crossed. And then the evening is closed by Elder, which I find a little bit weird. They're not that big of a band, but then again, people on Sunday might be leaving off. So there's this nasty warning that people who have to leave early are gonna miss Elder. That is one of the headliners in a way, because, you know, Monday people have work, me included, having a flight. No, I don't have work on Monday, but just saying. On the smaller side, there are bands like Vredehammer and I guess Avsky, which are definitely worth seeing. I hope to give Avsky an interview because that was already on talks. I don't know if they do that, but something worthwhile listening to and seeing live. And another interesting band is Ottone Pesante, which is doing metal kind of music but with brass instruments only. I got to review them a couple of years ago and man, what a trip it was. It was like a weird nightmare, but not nightmare in the sense that you're afraid and sweating and all that stuff when you wake up, but brass instruments doing metal. I mean, how much more metal you can really be when your music instruments is made of metal. It's not wood or plastic like keyboards and shit. It's brass instruments, literally metal. And they are doing interesting music. I'm not gonna say it's the best out there because it kind of is an acquired taste kind of a thing, but at least it's something different. So worthwhile giving a look if you can. 3 p.m. might be too early for me, this kind of a night owl with all the interviews and boozing around and all that stuff. Now what else I need to mention is that apart from 4 days of, you know, these bands and whatnot, I'm indeed trying to organize a meet and greet event for Rauta people that includes people following the channel or social media like Instagram, Facebook, Rauta Discord. Everybody, even those who don't follow Rauta channel in various forms, are obviously welcome for and talks. We're gonna just take it easy, have drinks, have talks, and all that stuff. And what else? I mean, I'm gonna be a busy bee here, seeing all the bands, doing the interviews, and socializing. You're probably gonna meet me at the hub hotel where I'm residing, and, you know, having beers. So if you see me at the festival and wanna say hello or just some deeper talk, come pull me by the sleeve and don't be a stranger, don't be a shy guy. I'm always up for talks unless I'm busy and working. So see you there, I hope. And should you have questions or comments about the festival, drop them in the comment section and I will get back to you. If I can answer your question, I will. If not, I will point it to the festival or the official Facebook page and all that stuff. And of course, for daily talk, join Rauta Discord, where you can also talk about this event or whatever you like. So, see you at Inferno 2023. And remember to book those hotels and flights if you haven't done so far and click those tickets. See ya in Oslo.